Bonjour, bonsoir, dear friends, and welcome to JCB Live. This is a phenomenal happy hour because tonight we're going to be with a great couple. We're going to be with a sensual couple, an exciting couple. After so many years together, can you believe they still love one another, or at least they act like it? They're very charming. I met them with my friend AJ at Roots and Water in Dallas. One of the most amazing private club in the United States where you drink some of the finest wines. And I was very lucky because that night, Sara and Todd showed me their wonderful wine, Elwood wines. And I fell in love with their vision of making wine in the state of California from a remote place of Dallas, Texas. Who doesn't love Texas these days? We all know we're all going to end up in Texas for many right reasons. We love them. They have a huge background in the world of food from Cincinnati to Texas. Very interesting people. And I'm so excited to welcome the both of them. And we're going to touch on couples, love, passion. We're going to touch on the love of wine, the love of America, the love of Texas, and maybe, if we're lucky, a few hints about sex. So here we are. Todd and Sara, welcome. Woo-hoo-hoo. Boom! I killed a bird. No, I didn't. It was a partridge. She's going to end up in my plate tonight. I'm going to make a wine sauce. It's going to be fun. Cheers.
Cheers.
You are looking so fabulous in your wine cellar. I mean, tell us about what a life you live.
Go ahead, Sarah. Well, first we must sip after that toast.
Exactly. Can you look at each other in the eyes? Because if not tonight, we're going to experience screams and bad sex.
We're in a perfect place.
So, Sara, how did you fall in love with Todd?
That was easy. I met Todd at a wine bistro. It was about 40 women and 3 men in the whole place.
How did you get so lucky to hang out in the right place?
That's where I went every Thursday after soccer. I coached girls soccer, and luck would have it, I picked a good night to be there.
Hey, so Todd, when you saw this beautiful lady, this irresistible child, what did you think? What went through your mind? Give us some details, for God's sake. We want this to be very juicy.
Well, we connected very quickly. It was actually a really fun story. We met and we exchanged we talked for several hours. We immediately connected. We didn't see each other for a couple of months, made some arrangements to maybe have lunch. That didn't happen. And then we coincidentally ran into each other a couple of months later at the car wash. So,
oh, really?
So we ended up
was he shooting for a new catalog, or maybe the next next year calendar? I've been watching You Have the American Playboy, and I know how he got the Playmates at first, just buying it from car catalogs and car calendars. Is it what Sara was doing? She was posing for one of those?
I don't.
On the hood, scantily clad.
Covered with suds.
If you can find those photos, tell me. I have somebody who needs to block them.
Well, I'm going to get on the internet. You see, I opened a button of my shirt just to make sure I could breathe.
Okay, me too.
Well, we just need a hood, but the table looks good. So you met at the car wash, and did you kiss under the foam of the engine starting again?
No, we didn't that night, but we did the first night we met, which was a lot of fun. But that was a daytime experience where we just kind of hung out and rekindled what we had started the first night we met, and it was fun because we sat outside the car wash for 45 minutes after they finished our cars and talked like nothing had ever changed, and we've been together ever since.
But you are not supposed to kiss and tell, right, Jean-Charles?
Oh, I'm not supposed to kiss and tell.
You're not supposed to kiss
JCB.
and tell.
You're supposed to tell us everything. And I think, Dylan, you need to get closer within the screen. We need to bring it tight. So, Todd, did you go to the trunk of your car and suddenly play the magician seducer and open a bottle of wine and said, we have 45 minutes ahead of us and it's time to enjoy wine?
I didn't do that, but that would have been a great crescendo. I mean,
He had a picnic basket.
I knew he had something.
He did, with wine glasses and wine and cheese. Oh my gosh, the cheese. He had it all prepared.
Do you actually believe you could be seduced anywhere in the world, in any place?
Oh yeah.
And if there's that
by
connection.
Sarah, absolutely. By Sarah, absolutely.
And what made it for both of you? Because you know you've done so many great things together. And you have great background. We're going to go through it. But what made it so electric that Sara, you said this is the man I want, and Todd, you said this is the woman I desire?
You know, it sounds boring, but the conversation, like Todd said, we talked and talked and talked and just completely fit together like two puzzle pieces.
We both, I think we both share a lot of the same passions, and we realized that very quickly. We both have a passion for travel. We both have a passion for wine and food and fun, and I think those things together really made us click. And we had been through a lot of the same experience before, good and bad, and those good experiences and bad experiences came together, and that's how we came to be. So it was a really wonderful. It was a really wonderful kind of divine intervention.
And
so help us, yeah.
Oh, I was going to say, and we have 5 amazing children, and mine are the 3 oldest, and his are the 2 younger ones, and the 5 of them just came together, and the family was immediate, just kismet.
I love this. And what made it, just finally on this topic, because you know, many people have incredible relationship, but sometimes some of us don't. And I'm very blessed, but many friends are not. So what made it just click like this and bang? Give us a clue as an inspiration for others to make it happen.
I think it just
to be yourself.
Yeah, it was an open book. You know, it wasn't a.
For
it wasn't.
sure.
It was an
We
open
didn't have
book.
to.
You know,
We did not play or
didn't
pretend.
play a game. We didn't even date. We just met and we got married.
Pretty much.
So on that,
there were bets out.
We wasted no
John
time.
Shaw, there were bets out that we would not be married, and they still owe us dinner at one of the finer steakhouses in Texas because we beat it by so far like over 12 years. So,
well, hey, congratulations. And I think the example of, you know, starting a family differently and then joining hands, joining love, joining households, your kids can get along and you could really have an amazing new continuity of love. So cheers to that.
Cheers.
Cheers.
So I'm going to ask Sara to describe this wine as much as she gave you a kiss, and I'm jealous, but that's okay. This is the Green Valley de Loche. And why did I choose this wine for you? This is the epicenter of the Russian River. This is one of the finest vineyard ever. As you've noticed, this is a Blanc de Noir, so this is a Pinot. You both love Pinot Noir, of course. And when I tasted champagne with the both of you and sparkling wine from Burgundy, you loved it. So this is the crest of the King of France. Can you believe? I played on it, and we, by hand, put every piece of jewelry on the bottle. And I would love Sara to give me a description of how she feels about this wine.
Oh my gosh.
You know, gorgeous. Describe it.
Oh gosh.
It could be sentimental, nostalgic, melancholic, poetic. It doesn't have, Sara, to be any form of technicality.
This wine actually makes me feel energized.
Ooh.
This is an energy wine. I don't know. There's something definitely celebratory about it. It's sparkling, but it actually it opens up and it just, I don't know. So
when you have more energy, Sara, and you always have energy every time I've met you, you phenomenal personality. What would you do with more energy? Because if you feel energized, what's you with more energy?
Oh gosh, here, I don't know. Well, that's why we've been skiing, and you know, exercise generates energy too, right? So it's like I can relax with a glass of wine and be energized, or I can be out on the slopes and get energized. right now.
She gets very fired up about skiing.
To see, yeah, I do. That's true. Because I didn't do it for a long time. So Todd learned just for me, and that's what we're doing here. But probably see this resort. I mean, this is my first time here, and
so where are you? Tell us where you are, because you're originally from Texas, but you obviously today not in your own cellar. You are in.
We are at St. Regis, Deer Valley in Deer Valley, Utah. Absolutely gorgeous property, and we're in the St. Regis wine vault. They were kind enough to let us use the room for a couple of hours for our Zoom here, and we're super excited about it. And the place is fabulous, and our room's absolutely amazing. The view on the slopes is amazing. There's fresh snow falling from the sky right now, so it's perfect for a December day.
Wow, what a way
and we're
to
drinking
spend,
great wine.
well, and one of the last weekends of 2020. So tell us, maybe the both of you, in whichever way you wish to answer this, is your childhood, which is in both cases quite unique, and as well your relation to wine.
Who wants to start? Okay, I'll start, because mine is, I grew up actually in San Francisco. I was born and raised in San Francisco. So I used to go, not too often with my family as a child, to Napa Valley and Sonoma, because my dad was a huge wine aficionado. So I was exposed to, we got to take the tours and smell the caves, the wine rooms, the barrel rooms. And so I definitely had that beginning. But Todd's is actually a little more involved, because his exposure to wine was later in life.
Yeah, my exposure to wine came, I was working for a gentleman named Jeff Ruby. He owns some restaurants in the Cincinnati area, very famous. Jeff is, I'm sure you're familiar with who he is. I worked,
man.
Yeah, he's done a lot for the city of Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky. I worked at his restaurant, Windows on the Water. I also was good friends with a lot of the people that worked in the other restaurants that he owns, Precinct and Ruby's. And that's how I got into wine. I was working at Windows on the Water, and got a passion for it, and actually did some sommelier services at that restaurant for a short period of time. And that's where the passion began. And I just fell in love with wine and everything that you can learn from it. Wine is such a, it's a lifelong, never-ending journey, as you know. And that's what I love about it. I love you can't ever learn enough. You can't ever get over the top of the mountain to where you know everything. You never will know everything. It's a never-ending story. So it makes it very energetic. It makes it very passionate. It makes it very educational. And I love sharing that with people.
And what wine really brought you both together? I'm imagining now the car wash. I'm imagining the picnic, the cheese, and all that. And then you have your first date. Was it a Pinot Noir? Because I know you're in love with Pinot. And
it actually wasn't. And the funny thing is I wasn't much of a Pinot Noir drinker until I met Sara. I actually was the big cab guy, the Australian Saras, the big Chardonnays and so forth. But since then I've evolved quite a bit, and I actually drink a lot more Pinot Noir now than I did. But our first date, we actually had, and I'm not 100% sure if this is right, but I know that we had a Hendrick Block 19 Zinfandel on our first date at a restaurant in Grapevine, Texas called Cafe Italia. And that was preemptive to going to a movie. So that was we picked that up at the place we met, Far Point Cellars, which we eventually got engaged in Far Point Cellars as well. And so
you're very loyal. I love it.
Now it's a pharmacy. So when we want to go back and renew our engagement, we have to sit behind the counter with the pharmacist. So
it's okay. We'll bring a bottle of wine.
Well, this is great. So before we go back to wine more, first I'd love for you to serve the Chardonnay.
Okay.
And to get before we move into your wine, I wanted to make sure we had some whites from the Russian River, because obviously we love the history of it and the jewelry for your beautiful, irresistible wife, Sara. But when you build a new family, what are the steps you go through? Because I'm so impressed how, as you described, the kids love one another, and you give us some clues and recommendation, suggestion. This is so cool.
Oh, I think that was one of our biggest challenges when we talked about getting married was how do we want to handle bringing the kids together? As it turned out, we brought them together. We went to a main event, which is a place in Texas and probably in other areas too, where, you know, you do a little laser tag, you do a little bowling, you do a little arcade. And we brought them all together to, for the first time in that environment. And it worked out really well. And obviously there's apprehension there and mystery, and the kids are going through a lot. So it was, we were actually really, really impressed with all the kids and how they handled the change. They actually all became very close over time, even closer. Had a lot of fun when they were really young, doing what kids do. Nerf guns, girl stuff, Guitar Hero, you name it, in our house in South Lake, Texas at the time. And it was really, we were really super impressed with our kids, actually. I think we were like clueless as to what we were going to do. I think they just made it happen.
Wow. This is so cool. Well, it speaks for your great education and values, I'm sure you've said for them. Now, as parents, what do you wish for them as a whole and as a family? What's your vision of it? And how, and in addition to that, how do you integrate wine for them to make sure that they get inspired by wine too? Two questions in one.
I would say, okay, the vision for them is passion. Obviously, we want all of them to find their passion. It was always really important to me before I met Todd that my children were in touch with what drives them. Yeah. And so, you know, when we came together, we just made sure that all 5 of them were encouraged in that way to find what they love, what drives them in life, and to kind of pursue that. Not try to be anything that they're not for anybody else, to be who they are, and, you know, to do something productive, something that they are proud of, something that fulfills them and helps them expand, you know, their horizons. That's number one. What was the second part of your question? Oh,
how wine. How do you bring wine within their lives? Because I think as early as we do it, the more respect they have for it, and the more, you know, understanding of civilization and culture they may have, right?
Well, I love watching the videos of you with your absolutely adorable, precious daughters and your beautiful wife. I love watching the videos of the 4 of you. Those girls are so inspirational to see them just enjoy your wines and enjoy what Dad does, be encouraged by you. So it's really neat to watch them. And they're at such a great age. They're at such a wonderful age to be.
I know, 9 years old. But I love what you said, Sara, and I'm curious, a lot of our friends who are with us tonight on a key time, you know, it's a turn of a year, and what a year, and we're going to enter an exciting new year. How do you help your kids? And I know for a fact, because I've asked a lot of questions, you're a great mother and you're a great inspiration. How do you get your kids, as you suggested, to find their passion or to really dive into what they like and discover it? What's your advice there?
Well, the advice is to try things. They have to try things. They have to step out, you know, and get exposed to things that they're maybe not totally comfortable with or familiar with. You know, they need to try things and decide this is for me or this isn't for me. And it's okay. It's okay when your kid is playing sports, if that sport is not for them, to say, I did it. I played baseball, you know, and then put that one aside and keep moving on, keep evolving, keep exploring and learning new things, and then picking and choosing from there what really attracts you.
And how do you keep that momentum, you know, in a way, because you have 3, right? Yeah. It's a lot of kids, you know, and you're a very busy woman working and very dynamic in all what you do. So how do you recommend we all organize our life to be able to fulfill that for the 3 kids equally?
Well, see, between us, we have 5.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And they get, and my kids get no less attention. I mean, she's done a lot to help them with decisions for school, decisions for college, for
Pursuits.
pursuits, passions and things like that. And I think we both have we really drive our kids to do what they want to do and love is the most important thing.
And as far as keeping the momentum going, I think taking an interest in it yourself. I think, like my daughter is into film, making and directing films. And, I knew nothing about that, but I find out about it. My sons, the various things that they're into, Austin and Chelsea, the things that they're into. Chelsea is, she's in the master's program. Actually, our kids are older. I'm not sure if you know that, but our kids are older. Our youngest is 20. So they're sort of already on a path in life. Yes. But, Chelsea is working with children with autism. She's in a master's program at University of North Texas. And that is her passion. That's not what she started out doing. She started out, she was a psychology major, and then she changed to a business major. And she said, this is not for me. Business is not for me. And she found, behavioral analysis, which is what she's getting her master's degree in right now. And it's just phenomenal, but we don't have any experience in education or children with special needs or anything. And so right along with her, we're learning. I mean, I'm reading books and finding out not only about what she's learning, which is how to work with these children, but also what it's like to be a parent of these children, that type of thing. So taking an interest, I think also in your child's interest helps build on itself.
Bravo. Very, very good advice for a lot of us who need certainly advice. And I cannot believe, by the way, you combine kids at 20 years old and up. You must have started, you were in kindergarten. That should not have been allowed. But you're in Texas, you all do things differently. I understand that.
She was in California at the time, so I was in Texas. But yeah, we have 31 down to 20, yes.
Wow. Amazing. So we have a Russian river for you. Before we dive in your wine, give us your thought about Chardonnay from the Russian river. Because you Pinot lovers, Pinot Chardonnay is the same DNA as Pinot Noir. One is Pinot Blanc, white, Pinot Noir. So what do you think of this one? For my state, it's organic, biodynamic, and I'd love to get your appreciation for it.
I can get a little of that in the nose for sure. I mean, nice soft acidity, little fresh pear, maybe some green apple. Get a little floral note.
Mm-hmm. Are you smelling at the wine or are you smelling at Sara?
Well, that would be.
Here, hold on. Let me.
That would be the floral part. A little perfumey.
You've picked up a forever young flower.
I like that.
I did.
Thank you.
The wine is fantastic. It's delicious.
It is delicious.
Well, thank you so much. No, we excited because you love wine. And I think it leads to, the idea of why wine and why did you get started and how did you get this idea to start your own winery and your own wine business and with such success? So give everyone the history of that.
Well, it's a short, long story. We basically, going back to Mandy, which is our film major, Sarah's oldest middle daughter, her middle child, or her daughter, Chelsea is my daughter, and then Mandy was going to LMU in LA, and she loved a restaurant called Tower Bar at Sunset Tower in Hollywood, of course.
Of course, and, we know Tower Bar, yeah.
Yeah, so we were in there. We had recently done a blind tasting of Pinot Noirs. This is many years ago. And I think we blinded like a 2005 or 6 Sea Smoke tin. And it was the #1 Pinot Noir that everyone chose at that point in time at this blind tasting. I mean, literally everybody at the table picked it. So when we went to Tower Bar, they had it on the menu, and we ordered it because we loved it so much because we hadn't seen it since that blind tasting at that time. And we came back another time, and that particular time was around the Academy Awards, and I came and joined them late, and we went to order a bottle of it, and they didn't have any. The allocation was gone because they only get about 6 bottles a year. And basically, I asked him what he recommended, and he recommended a Pinot to us that we really loved called Ancient Ocean, produced by Greg Lynn, who is our winemaker, and makes a fabulous Pinot Noir. And we called him the next day because we wanted to go to his tasting room. He said, well, I don't have a tasting room. So we ended up going to his house on a Saturday afternoon at like 4 p.m. And he had it all set up for us. And we had wine glasses for myself, Sarah, and our daughter. And she doesn't even drink really. And she's passionately drinking this wine and loving the stories he's telling and all the history he has with wine. And long and the short of it is, about a year later, Greg and I were talking on the phone, and I was like, hey, I want to get my 2 younger kids into wine. They've been drinking wine since they were little. I've been teaching them, profiles and things like that. And he's like, well, if you're really interested, then, hey, why don't we do this? And we got to talking, and we ended up with Elwood Koalas. So this is our single production Pinot Noir. It's 600 bottles a year. We don't produce every year. We're very picky about when we produce, and kind of follow Greg's lead a little on that. And then we have another project in the closet right now because of COVID. We have a bottle falling over. We have a Grand Cru we're bringing in called Elwood 5 Atmospheres.
Wow.
It's a grower champagne. We're really excited about bringing that on board our.
But tell us, before we go to the bubbles, I mean, this is very exciting. So tell us about Koalas, because I just poured it. But Todd, give us the idea. So you're not at all in the wine business. And I know there's so many people with us tonight who says, I want to get into the wine world. How do I do this? So you met this young man, great winemaker. You were in his house. You're tasting wine with Sarah and your daughter, and you say, fucking A, I love this. And then you say, I'm going to start my wine? I mean, how does it go about it? How did you go about it?
It was chance. It was chance. I mean, I honestly received my allocation from him. We had ordered a couple of cases of his wine. He has a great Pinot Noir. He actually had a champagne also and did a white Burgundy. And we got some of his wines on an order. And when I called him that day, a year later, like I said, basically we got to talking, and we basically just exchanged emails and phone calls for a couple of months, and we made it happen. We just were like, let's do this. Let's start putting the wine together, and this is what we want to produce. And Greg, hey, this is what we're interested in. We love your Pinot Noir style. We love how you're making it. We love the fact that it can lay down for a long time. It's long aging, low alcohol, 100% whole cluster. And those are the things I loved about it, the Burgundian style. So the Burgundian style is what we brought to the table, which is not terribly common in California. So you get a different profile of our wine than what you normally drink in California in a Pinot Noir. It's we call it a cab drinker's Pinot Noir for the guys that say we don't like cab. And because the guys that love cab love this Pinot Noir because it has that depth and boldness to it.
I can see that. And Sarah, what did you think when you tasted this vision of starting your own wine?
Well, our 11, which was our first vintage, we nicknamed it My Baby, because it literally is my favorite wine in the whole world. And wow. when we do blind tastings, and originally when we very first started out in this venture, and that was our only vintage, we did get together with friends. We held several blind tastings, and we put it up against some very renowned wines. And we even did one tasting, it was interesting, where we opened a bottle the day before, because this wine, our wine, has such a solid structure, it doesn't fall apart. The wine can be open for days and still taste just as good, have its structure intact, and even have evolved over that time. So what we did was we opened one the day before, and then we opened one that day, and we did a blind tasting, and our friends were split 50-50 with our wine exclusively. Half of them picked the wine that was open the day before, and half of them picked the one that we opened that day. But they really had no clue. And I said, now you see why this is my baby.
This was a true blind tasting of 14 Pinot Noirs. So it wasn't like we were just throwing it up against 2 other Pinots. It was a portfolio of stuff like Peter Michael and Sea Smoke and Loire. And, it was a good lineup. Yeah. So it really said a lot for Greg's talent, honestly.
And how did you make a decision of, okay, we're going to go to Santa Maria area? Because you may want to explain that. You know, you typically, and a lot of the people you just mentioned, it's either with the Russian River or Burgundy or Sonoma Coast, which happens to be kind of the top three. So your wine is outstanding, but it's not just Russian River or Green Valley or Sonoma Coast. Why Santa Maria?
I think that really was all Greg. I mean, we went to Greg, and that's where he produces, and we followed his lead, and we've learned since then, and we've drank so many wines from that region that it's a fabulous place for Pinot Noir. The soil, the climate, the fall glare is perfect for the grape, and it treats it very well. And it was really Greg. It was Greg's. It was where Greg produced his Pinot, so we followed his lead.
So what does Pinot do to your personality?
Makes me smile.
Be really true to us. Tell us, what does it do to you? Because, you know, a lot of people in the United States love big wines. And it may be red blends, maybe be Cabernets. Pinot is sexy, but not doing as much as cabs. So tell us and invite us to live your dreams. Share it.
That's a very interesting question, and something that we hear a lot. And I'll probably yield to Sara a little bit, but in a nutshell, like I said, I used to be a big cab drinker. I was the guy drinking the huge cabs, drinking the big, huge, jammy, Adelaide, McLaren Vale Shirazes out of Australia. And I have grown to love the intense acidity in the Pinot Noir, the Burgundian style way it's made, the ability for it to lay down and age, the fact that it's dynamic and it changes in character over the course of several hours and it doesn't fall apart due to alcohol content. Still love cabs, love all wines. I'm passionate about wine across the board, and I'll never stop trying all the different wines from everywhere because it's like I said earlier, a never-ending journey. But Pinot Noir has definitely a passion with us in our relationship because Sara had a passion for Pinot Noir and she got me drinking Pinot Noirs and we evolved and then we ended up having our own.
She's the one who converted you.
Yeah.
She is. She is.
Can a woman, Todd, have any power on you?
She's got all the power.
I have all the power.
That's right. You know, it's amazing, Todd, don't you think, what women can have us do? Convert our taste and make it better.
100%.
Would you agree with that?
Absolutely, all the way. I mean, she was a Syrah drinker and a Pinot Noir drinker when I met her, and that's. And I definitely went down that path and started learning a lot more about it right away.
Well, you know, which is really quite amazing is you mentioned those two grape varieties. This is a true Burgundian dreams, you know, because we go from Burgundy south. What is south? Rhone. What is Rhone? Syrah. So the Burgundian typically loves Syrah because of the alignment of regions and style and the complementarity and the aging style of it, right? So,
absolutely.
Sara, what do you love about Pinot and this one specifically? Why don't you describe it for us? Because I want everybody to discover this amazing winery named Elwood. So, dear friends, all of you with us tonight, you got to really, it's at the Oakville Wine Merchant, and it's obviously on your own website. So people can buy it, enjoy it. It's Santa Maria. And I love it because we don't make a Santa Maria. So
right?
maybe, Sara, you tell us what makes you love Pinot, not Todd, but just Pinot, and then why Santa Maria?
All right. Well, I'll tell you something. You know, you talk about sexy. You've heard the phrase, "Not tonight, dear, I have a headache," right? That's not very
Never
sexy.
heard of it, but it's a good one.
It's not very sexy. Well, one of my favorite things about, especially about our wine, I don't know about other Pinots, but about our wine is it won't give you a headache. That was one of the things that I fell in love with initially because it is made in the French style.
Yeah.
And it does have a slightly lower alcohol. And it is whole cluster. I don't know if it's a combination of those things or something else, but for whatever reason, you can really enjoy yourself. You can really have an evening and indulge and not regret it the next day. At least that's been my experience. I can't promise that for everybody, but I am a person who does have to be cautious of that. When I'm having a wonderful evening, I have to have that in mind, that I have to take care so that I don't end up regretting tonight tomorrow, right? And with my wine, I never have to think about that.
Well, it's a great way to say it. But Sara, you use the word name indulge. Beautiful world. Yeah. Beautiful word and beautiful world. What's your definition of indulging?
Indulging. Indulging is finding what you love.
You're supposed to say Todd.
Oh, of course. I indulge in Todd all the time.
Did you read the script, for God's sake?
Yeah, finding what you love and partaking. You know, lots of people, I think, are limit themselves, put so many limits on themselves, right? It's like, yes, I want to go on that vacation, but no, I better not. Yes, I want to buy that outfit, but no, I better not, you know, and other things. Yeah, I should take today off. I should go see that movie. I should call up those friends, you know, but they don't. And you have to think about those things that drive you, those things that, you know, that you love and actually indulge.
I'm loving that definition. And on that note, what excites you besides Todd, of course? What excites you or inspire you? I mean, it's a question for the both of you. In this world, at this stage, you've been very successful in all the things you've done. I know we focus a lot on your wine project, but you've done so many other things. Give us your idea of that.
I think for both of us and anyone who knows us, it's travel, right? We travel. That is what we do. That's what excites us. People say, I don't know how you do it. I couldn't be on that road that much. I couldn't be away from home that much. But Todd and I, absolutely, it excites us both to travel, to go to new places, meet new people, see new things, learn. So we definitely travel, and anything travel related. I mean, we like to go to Las Vegas. We have fun in Las Vegas. We like to go to Lake Tahoe and go skiing. So that's, you know, we like to go on beach vacations, mountain vacations. I mean, not just vacations, I'm saying vacations, but the truth of the matter is that we're working when we're traveling. So we go to these places because we both work from home, right? So if we can work at our home office, we could work at a remote office just as easily, as everyone right now is finding out, right? Because of this unique year, lots of people are learning they can work from home the same that they could in an office. So for us, it's like, why should I be on my computer in my home office when I can be, and we did this this year, as a matter of fact. We had our
in your home office. So I heard, Sara, you work from your bed a lot. Is it true?
Oh, where did you hear that?
I don't know. I may have had cameras shooting into your house, but you work horizontal as well as vertical. Is it true?
Oh my gosh, you completely caught me, because I kept saying I can be on my computer in my home office, but the truth of the matter is I'm never in the office. I don't
believe it.
I work sitting on my bed, 100%.
I know that.
I can't believe you know that.
That's hilarious, and I did not tell him that.
Oh, I'm surprised you know that.
But I might have a lot of information that comes to me, you know. When I saw your eyes and your beautiful sparkles, I knew, Sara, you don't do things the traditional way. And I think it's so cool to do things in the way you all feel you want to do it. And I love your definition of inspiration. What about you, Todd? What inspires you, get you going?
I mean, it's truly Sara and travel. I mean, we love being together. We love seeing the world. I love people. I love sharing and experiences with people, whether it's wine or travel or architecture or helping somebody with my construction company and making their house better and improving their situation, whatever the case may be. I just love being there for people and enjoying seeing people happy. You know, I mean, that's what's fun, is joy. Joy is what is, to me, that's a huge passion. Joy is what everything is about.
And you
finding that, fulfilling that.
And you fulfill a lot of that through your other business, your big business, which is construction and all that. Now, what is both of you, doesn't have to be the same, give us your dreams now.
Dreams.
Your wildest dreams. Besides
geez.
being naked on a desert island, because I've heard that, Todd, from you before.
We I think we've been talking about our dreams this whole time. One of our dreams that's going to come true is this champagne coming in from Auger. We're very excited about that.
Congratulations.
That's really something we're looking forward to getting, finished up and out and in the U.S. and bringing it to the table. I think expanding our wine, our spectrum of our wines, adding some wines is a dream, and getting to a point to where our wine business can be our passion and our livelihood.
Okay.
As hard as that is in this business, as you know, and being able to get to a point to where we can add new layers of Pinot Noirs, great quality Pinot Noirs at half the price of our current Pinot Noir, and then expand into Chardonnay or other varietals is a dream. I think it's a dream of ours to be working in travel and educating people on travel. And we've talked about, for many years, we joke all the time about, I tell Sarah all the time, I said, how come you haven't come up with our $1 million travel idea yet? So we can go out and see the world and get paid to do it. That's what we want to do. We want to see the world and get paid to do it, and share that with people, share what there is to see out there, because there's so much. And in the short 10 years we've been traveling all over the world, we've seen and experienced so much. It's incredible.
Well,
Sarah might have a dynamically different perspective of this, but that's.
Well, we hope so. That's what makes you that magnetic couple, that you have two different perspectives. Sara, your dream?
Oh gosh, I have a whole
meeting a
list
Frenchman and kissing a Frenchman, which I know you've told me that. Luckily, Todd was very far away.
Have you ever heard Todd say "ooh la la"? He's pretty French. Or "si tu insistes."
Yeah, si tu insistes.
Oui, oui, ooh la la.
Ooh la la.
Actually, I have a list of dreams somewhere, but the funny thing was, as you asked the question, I was trying to recall the number one thing that I can remember on my list of dreams is to someday have a foundation. Someday I would love for us to have a foundation. I would love to be in a position to do humanitarian work. Like I said, we travel, and the human race is so varied, right, across the globe, and there's so many different special people and cultures, and there are people who, not only people who need help, but people who are in a position to grow if only they had a little bit of help to grow. And that always inspires me. And I also think about, our wine business. Obviously, the part of the story that Todd mentioned, or maybe didn't mention, is that at the time, the two younger kids were in high school and younger. And so when we set out to do this company, to make this wine, we had the kids in mind, that they would come along for the ride, that they would work, be part of the vision. And Chelsea, as I already mentioned, she's on a different path right now. Austin, it remains to be seen, and the other three, at any time might come back into the fold. But having them be a part of this journey, or seeing where this journey goes, is all part of the dream.
So exciting! Wow. You both so articulate and have, 4 phenomenal synergistic goals. So I'm sure those dreams will happen. Now, we're enjoying, obviously, your Elwood wine from Santa Maria. It's our turn of 2020. I'd love for the both of you, maybe separately, to give to all our friends watching from all around the world. It could be Asia, it could be Africa, it could be Europe, it could be Northern America, South America. What is your message to everyone for the next 2020?
The next 2020?
Or the next 2021, forgive me.
Wow.
Or the next year. What's your big message to all of us? I know it sounds very emphatic, but
that's a huge thing to come up with.
Well, you both have created great success in your business. needless to say. You've created your dream, which is a winery, created this amazing family, and you have a lot to give as an advice to others. So what's your inspiration to the rest of the world in many ways?
I mean, for me, it would be follow your heart, love others, enjoy life, be passionate about who you are and what you love, and don't let anybody get in your way.
That's pretty good.
I like that. Woo! You know, which I love is that Texas direct statement. 4 key messaging, which are very important. Thank you, Todd. Very well said. Sara?
Oh gosh, mine is
Ladies
a little more.
last. Ladies are always first to get into the room, and we follow the last words of
If she'd gone first, I would have had nothing.
No, mine is a little more sober. I feel bad a little bit for 2020 because I feel like there was a lot of fear in this year that we saw, that people experienced. And I'm not saying all fear is bad. Sometimes fear is necessary. But for 2021, I would like to see people check in with themselves and make sure if their fear is helpful. Because I don't want to see people held back. I don't want to see people live in fear. I don't want to see people hesitate to their detriment. You know what I'm saying? So probably,
yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I'd like to see people feel a little more confident and a little more connected, so that fear doesn't run anyone's life.
Ooh, very well said, and I agree with that so much. You know, we so much referred to 2020 as the George Orwell 1984 year, or the old Animal Farms we all read at school, but it's very true. So you both so wise, such an inspiration, such a success in your personal life, in your professional life. Having started a winery is a big deal, and we want to commend you. I'm going to have more for it.
All right.
For your combined talent, for the energy you both put forward. Congratulations. And for the both of you being so in love and so passionate and having such electric dreams that you're taking us with you. So I want to thank you so much being with us. December 23rd. It's so exciting. In a few days and in a few weeks, it's a new year. And I cannot wait to see you. And I want to raise my glass as well to our friend AJ, who introduced us.
Absolutely.
Now, friendship forever.
Absolutely. Cheers.
Hey, have a great time skiing, enjoying, and thank you so much for being with us. That was so fantastic.
It was a lot of fun. Thanks, JCB. Hey, I want to do a quick shout out to Brooks. You know Brooks from Flora and Fauna, our importer in Texas.
Of course.
Say hello to him. I told him I had to say bonjour, bonsoir, and
bonjour to Brooks. Santé.
It was a lot of fun. Santé.